Morning, it's day 91, it's about 11:15, so it's been a couple of hours since I took my medication because I didn't get up until about 9 a.m. this morning. Naughty, naughty, but I did actually not get to sleep until around 2 anyway, so technically I suppose I didn't oversleep, as I mentioned in my blog post just now. But yeah, I'm feeling alright about things. It was my friend Chris's first anniversary yesterday, first anniversary since he died. And I just can't believe it's been a whole year since he passed away now. It doesn't seem that long. It really doesn't. It's gone really quick as well. And of course I miss him, and I always will. But I have to sort of look forward now and think, well, what would he want for me? What would he want me to do now? And I suppose that's what this whole journey has been about, really. It's just been kind of like confronting your issues and shortcomings and failings and however else you want to refer to them. Now, it's a difficult thing, as I've said numerous times before, to admit that you're struggling, and to admit that you need help, and to admit that you are vulnerable. We all get like that. Some of us have the courage to admit it, and some of us don't, but everybody has those moments. Everyone always has those moments. I'm sort of looking at the camera now, and I can see myself quite clearly on the screen, and it's, my eyes look quite dark actually this morning, but as I'm sat here looking at myself closely, not in a vain way, but I'm sort of thinking, who am I? Why am I at this particular point? Why am I in this particular place at the moment? And the truth is, I've probably got mostly myself to blame, because maybe I am a little oversensitive at times. Maybe I have been over the years, and maybe too much bad stuff's happened. As I've said before, I've lost people, lots of people that I love over the years, and not been well myself, and almost lost members of my family, etc. And it kind of makes you a little bit, not just reflective, but almost sort of wistful and quite sort of philosophical about life, really. Because I think about a lot of the friends that I've lost to various things, and and I seem to have already lived longer than some of them. I can think of at least 3 people amongst my friends that have departed that I've actually lived quite a bit longer than, that I've actually outlived by quite a long way. And I suppose it is a part of life, you've got to kind of feel philosophical and quite deep about some things, because it gets you thinking about what is it you want to bring to your life. I need to face facts. I'm probably at the stage now where the bulk of my life has already gone by. I can't see myself living into my 80s. I'll probably get to maybe about early to mid 70s, and then I'll probably just it'll be my time to go. But because I'm not a greedy person when it comes to life, really. I'm not, I don't expect to live past 100 and all that kind of stuff. Not that I'm trying to be morbid about it. I'm just trying to say, well, whatever time is left, I'd like to make the most of it. Because you never know, and that's, tomorrow is something that isn't guaranteed for anybody. It isn't, and that's what a lot of people lose sight of. People think they're invincible and they're not. It's just, it's a big mistake to assume that you're invincible. It's a very, very big mistake to assume that you're invincible, because we're not. I know that for sure, that we're not. As someone who's had, 3 cancer scares in just over 10 years, I know that is definitely true. I know it's true. But everything has to be balanced in terms of how you view life, and what you expect from it. I mean, that's the thing, I suppose. In terms of the expectation side of things, I didn't have very realistic expectations of who I could be. I remember when I was a kid, I thought, I'm going to be married by 30 and I'm going to have a whole bunch of kids and I'm going to be rich and famous, and the typical sort of thing that most people aspire to. But you have to remember, when you're on this earth, everybody's story is different. Everyone's here for a different reason, and it took me a while to realise that just because the majority of people are going in one direction, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go in that same direction yourself. You have to find the right direction for you. You have to find what works for you. And this is the problem, I think, in society. People just accept certain terms and certain norms about society, and they think, well, that's about all I can aspire to then, so I'll just do this. And they're missing out on so much because they're not prepared to push themselves beyond what they feel society expects from them. That's the thing. And it's quite sad to think of that, in a way. It really is. Because our potential is pretty much infinite when we are a certain age. But as Chuck Barris once said, when you're young, your potential is infinite. You might do anything, really. You might be Einstein, you might be DiMaggio. Then you get to an age where what you might be gives way to what you have been. You weren't Einstein, you weren't anything. That's a bad moment. And that is quite a deep way of looking at it, and it's quite sad, really, as well, because he was a very accomplished guy. I say was, he's actually still alive. He's about 85, 86, but he's still alive. And I just find that outlook to be quite scary. I know they say that people who are really successful and really accomplished possibly have the most self-doubt within them of anyone, because they're constantly on the go, and they're constantly sort of trying to surpass themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think one thing I have learned is you can get so caught up in the parameters of aspiration, I suppose, that you lose sight of the little things. And as I get older, one thing I'm realising is that the little things are actually the most important things, because they are the things that we regret the most when we're on our deathbeds and we're there sort of days, maybe even hours away from leaving the world. Nobody ever sat on their deathbed, for example, and said, oh, I wish I'd earned more money, or I wish I'd spent more time at work, or I wish I'd bought a bigger house or a bigger car. No, it's usually the little things that people remember the most when they're about to go. I wish I'd made up with my dad, I wish I hadn't got divorced, I wish my kids were around, those kinds of things. So I think being in this kind of situation for me, where you are sort of really looking at yourself in a very comprehensive way, it does make you wonder where the hell it is you're going. And that's quite a sobering thought, really, because things are not set in stone. Nothing is definite in this life apart from one thing, and that is that we're all going to leave the world at some point. Some of us will leave sooner than others. It's just the way it is. But really, it's about getting in touch with yourself and getting in touch with the basics of what life is about. What is it really about? It's not about how much you earn. It's not about how much you own. It's not about what you look like. It's about what you bring to the world. It is about what you bring to this world. How you contribute to the world, to the running of the world. That's the thing that's important, and that's the thing that I've been questioning quite a lot in myself, really. And I will continue to do so, and I'll continue to learn and possibly make mistakes along the way, as we all do. But yeah, I know this is a very deep and philosophical conversation, but I sometimes think these questions need to be answered, and they need to be looked at and need to be examined, and think, okay, what is it I'm really here for? Because I've personally looked at my life over the last 20-25 years, and I've thought, my God, I've survived the kind of things that would have killed the vast majority of people. I'm like, wow. And it's quite sobering, really, to think that I'm still here when there's people who were stronger than me, who've died before me, who were younger than me as well. It's quite weird to think that. But anyway, I'm going to get going because it's nearly 14 minutes. I know, 14 minutes. God, this has been a bit of a rambly one, hasn't it? But yeah, I'm going to get going because I've got a few things to do later on. So I will see you later. Okay, bye.